All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This is Yelena Subasic with Massey. We're just going to give it a few more minutes until we actually start the webinar, just because we're seeing a couple people just joining. So we'll give it about 30, 40 more seconds before we officially start. Thanks. All right, I still see people coming on in, so we'll give it 20 more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start, and then if people trickle in, that's perfectly fine. So, hi everybody, welcome to our March CloudBytes on dashboard strategies presented by Barbara Race today. I hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. And before I give the hand off the screen to Barbara, I just wanted to mention a couple things. So, of course, how our webinars work. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box in your GoToWebinar screen on the right-hand side. And then we can answer those either throughout if it's pertinent to what Barbara is showing on the screen, or we'll just go ahead and answer them at the end. And then something else that I wanted to point out for anybody interested, please be aware that we are having our Sage Intacct regional meetup. So in the middle of April, so about a month from now. One's going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. One's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that more information is in the Sage Intacct newsletter that has gone out, and also on our website. So please feel free to sign up if that date and time is convenient for you guys. So Barbara, I'll give it away, and we'll start. Thanks.
Okay, welcome everybody. Today's CloudBytes is going to be dashboard strategies. And before we start with the dashboard strategies, let's do our normal administrative items. So most of you have worked with Massey Consulting or know of Massey Consulting. So just a couple little highlights for Massey. Founded in 2002, comprised of CPAs and accountants, have been working with Intacct for several years and have been an Intacct Premier Partner since 2013, and have been one of the Sage Intacct's on the Sage Intacct's President's Club for 2014, 15, and most recently last year. A Microsoft Gold Partner, and as you know, a contributor to a lot of the blogs and other publications. So that's a little bit about Massey, and then just a brief little blurb about myself. I'm a Sage Intacct consultant. I was a Sage Intacct user, started using Intacct in 2012, and when I joined Massey, I still used Intacct, so Sage Intacct certified and have been a speaker at several events. All right, so let's get into our presentation today. So today, what is a dashboard? So we're going to talk about dashboard strategies today. So we're not going to talk so much about how to create a dashboard, but we're going to talk about how to think about what to put on a dashboard. So what's the best place to start is to talk about what is a dashboard. So are you using a dashboard to show KPIs? Is it for analysis? Are you doing it for alerts? So, you know, do you want to have key metrics in one place for the executives? Do you want a distribution method for financial and statistical information? Do you want a blank slate to organize information for review and analysis? Or is it going to be for a hub for things that need attention? So let's talk about the dashboard. So think about when you're designing a dashboard, what is needed? You know, and when you're designing dashboards, you can experiment a little bit and put things out there and get feedback, and that's the best way to know if dashboards will give individuals what they need. And just remember that the dashboard is a living document, so you want to make sure to go back and review what you have put out there for individuals, and to make sure that it makes sense for what they see and are using on a daily basis. So moving on, so we get now into what to dashboard. So some of the things that we want to talk about is the data relevant? Is the data actionable? So who is your audience? Does the data show what information is needed? Do you have a purpose and use for putting this dashboard out to the customer, to the whoever is looking at it in Intacct? So some of the questions you could ask here as you're going through on what to dashboard is, who is it for? So who am I presenting this dashboard to? Is it an executive? Is it an employee? A project manager? What types of dashboards are needed? So again, is it going to be something that's more role-based? So am I going to have a project manager or an employee looking at this dashboard? Or is it going to be more of like an analysis dashboard where we're actually putting reports out there? Or are we putting things out there for people to review and come back? So departmental financials, or is it as something that we need to have actionable, so approvals that need to be done? And then you're going to also need, when you're designing it, is not only to ask what information is on there, but are we using the space on the dashboard correctly? So are we putting things in the correct order for people to see them? Are we having enough columns? Or do we have too many columns when we're designing our dashboards? And then we want to make sure that our data is relevant to the audience. So does a PM, a project manager, really need to see outstanding invoices? Is there anything they can do with those invoices? Or do they need to see what outstanding bills are out there? If it's not relevant for them, then it doesn't need to be on their dashboard. And then again, you have to think about, how do people access the dashboard? So are they using a computer? Are they using a laptop versus a desktop? Do they have a monitor? Are they using their phone when they access it? So this is all things that you want to kind of walk through and think before you start to design your dashboard. So let's kind of look at what we were just talking about, the example of the information being relevant and actionable. So on this dashboard, we can see, and this is very simple, we can see 325 miles until empty. That's an important item to know. We know that we can drive at least 300 miles before we have to think about, starting to look for a gas station to fill up. We also can see on here that it's giving us the time and the cabin temperature, which is going to be important. We know what time it is, and then we know that the cabin temperature is 72 degrees. That may be too warm for us, it may be too cool for us, so we can adapt that, make it warmer or cooler. And then we have the estimated arrival time at 10:50. So we know currently it's 9 a.m. So we have an hour and 50 minutes until we arrive at our destination. So those are some of the things that are going to be relevant information, and some things that we can take actions on to correct, like the cabin temperature, for example. Then if we look at the next example, these are kind of things that are less relevant to a dashboard. So this is kind of telling us on this dashboard that we have an engine temperature of 90 degrees. Does that mean anything to us? Is that important? Should we need to know that? Do we need to call our mechanic? I don't know by just looking at this dashboard. So if I knew more, like what a comparison was of what a normal engine temperature was, that may give me more information so I would know what action if I needed to take an action even. And then the same thing with the amount of the 10 gallons of gas. What does that mean to me? Does that mean I can go 100 miles? Does that mean I can go 10 miles, 300 miles? I don't know by knowing that I have 10 gallons of gas. And then there's other items on this as well. There's the little symbols in the center. I'm not sure what those mean. I have no idea. So is there anything on here that really helps me to go forward, to take the next step when I'm looking at this dashboard? And Yelena, before we continue, are there any questions?
No, not that I see right now. So I would just keep going, and then if any pop up, I'll save them till the end.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next thing on what to dashboard is kind of getting back into the role, what type of dashboard we want to look at. Do we want to look more at a roles-based dashboard, or is it kind of an analysis dashboard? So some of the key components there are, what kind of content drivers do we have here? So you may want to ask yourself when you're starting to look at these are, what are others using? So what kind of reports, what kind of information are others gathering when they're doing, it's not even a dashboard currently, what do they do now? How do they get their information? And then think about, what have I been asked for? So do I get certain requests from different members of the company over and over again? Is that something I could add to the dashboard? So those, and what would help me to see? So as the administrator, when I'm doing different things within Intacct, what could I put on my dashboard to help me also see into what is going on with items within Intacct? So for example, you may want to there put kind of, if you're the super approver for different things, journal entries, time or timesheets or expense reports, put approvals on there so you can see, are managers approving what they need to approve? Do you need to follow up with them? Do you, for purchase orders, are there things that are missing there? So kind of go through and kind of figure out, what other things can I think about when I am designing a dashboard, and that'll help others. And it may be as easy as, oh, I've been asked for this cash analysis report from Treasury for the last 6 months. Can I put that on a dashboard? So kind of a different view of what kind of examples of, this is a cash analysis. So this goes into the analysis role of a dashboard, and what you can add to analysis views. And then the next one that we have is going to be a kind of an example of a project manager role dashboard. And you can see kind of the differences on here. So this is more geared to the project manager. So this is a timesheets to approve, expenses to approve, the profitability on different projects, the team utilization. Where if we look back at the one we just were for the cash analysis, this is more reports and graphs and things that are historical information that they can look at and see trends over time. And then what I would like to do is, before we get into our building blocks of the dashboards, is kind of to go into Intacct and look at some of the additional kind of dashboards that may be available and help other people. So on a roles-based view, we're looking at the controllers, and we can see that we have for them to approve journal entries, and there's nothing there right now, but when there are journal entries that need to be approved, the status would pop up here and who would be the requester that needed this approved. And then we have our balance sheet, which is our financial reports, and then we have our financial cash balance, our profit and loss. And then over in our third column, again, we have some shortcuts to be able to get around in Intacct. So you can see you can make those collapsible and let people drill into them. We have our customer aging report, and then we have a vendor aging report graphs. And then if we looked at what we see as a project accountant, if we look at their dashboard, it's going to be totally different. It's going to give a different view and a different feel. So they're looking right now at open project invoices for the US. And they also have a customer aging graph, so they can understand and you can drill into those. Customer health. You can see over here how things are running for our different customers. And then if we wanted to, and we looked at more of a, based on what a hotel project manager may do, someone that's a general manager, you can see that this one is totally giving us a little different view. Hello? Sorry. So this one, we can see that we're getting our revenue per room at the Marriott's, and we can see the different locations and how that compares. And then the rooms that are rented versus the rooms down here where we have different locations over time. So it's just kind of a different view to kind of set up for the different people that will be looking at the dashboards. Okay, so let's jump back into our presentation. And now kind of just walking through what the different building blocks are for the dashboard components. So we have the performance cards, we have reports, charts, and graphs. You can also put list, queries, and records on it. And as you saw in some of our examples, we have the approvals we can add. You can add a collaborate, and you can also add links and feeds. And we saw that in one of them where we had the list of items that you could get within Intacct to be able to go to different parts of Intacct. So one of the things when you're designing your performance cards, now remember performance cards are a quick comparison. So you may want to look at revenue compared to last year or revenue compared to your budget. Same thing with cash. You may want to look at your cash analysis this year versus last year. So those are what your performance cards will give you examples of. And one of the things that you have to remember is the performance cards uses account groups. So you want to make sure you have the account group available to be able to create your performance card. So here we have performance cards where we're looking at revenue year to date compared to the budget. And we can see we have a green flag. We're doing well. We're, compared to budget. We have revenue this month compared to prior month, and we're up on that as well. But if we look at our last performance card, our revenue versus plan, and it's the revenue for this month versus what our budget was, we can see we're not exceeding what the budget was for this month. So again, think on what you want to present with your performance card, at what the person is who has the dashboard view wants to see. So then with our building blocks, with our reports, charts, and graphs examples, we can see that we can go ahead and bring in financial reports. So if we have a financial report added in our financial reports, that can be added easily to a dashboard. We can create charts and graphs to add as well. So those are things that, how do people like to see things? Are they more a numbers-oriented person? Or would the chart or the graph give them more of a picture, give them more information that is they will be able to utilize? And then the thing that people don't think about a lot is that lists are very useful within a dashboard. So you may want to see all your customers, top 10 customers. You can create a query, you can create a view based on that and add that to your dashboard. Or you may need for your AP person to see a list of bills that are coming up that need to be paid by due date. So views, queries, all that are very useful on your dashboard as well. Some of the other things that we didn't mention here is you can add the collaborate. So remember that collaborate, you can add groups and get individuals on a dashboard. So if you have a collaborate group that for accounts payable and people need to discuss things, they can do it right on the dashboard rather than having to go into accounts payable to do it. So you want to think about, would that be helpful on the dashboard to have that right there where you may have 5 people that view this dashboard, and if they need to have discussions about it, they can have it right on the dashboard. And then the other things that we want to consider when we're doing our dashboards are underlining components. So remember that we have security on the dashboard. Who can see the dashboard? Make sure you have your security set up. Do you want everyone to have access to the dashboard, or do you want to give the dashboard to certain individuals and or groups that are created with Intacct? Then the other thing to consider also is, what are my account groups? Remember, account groups do build the performance cards. Are they available for me? Do I need to go out and build an account group so I can get my performance, the card created? And use the manage views. Within Intacct, in every module, there is a way to create views, and those views can be added to the dashboard. And again, a little bit, I talked about the collaborate groups, so making sure that you have those in your functionality. And collaborate, if you don't have it turned on in Intacct, it can always be turned on in Intacct, and it's a great way for a messaging center within Intacct where things are tied to certain transactions. So think about those, how to get those set up when you're doing your creation of dashboards. So again, we're talking about building a dashboard. So what is the best place to start? And some of the best places to start are to brainstorm, ask questions. What are people looking for? What have they been asking you for? Can you get a group of people together that are using Intacct and ask them, what would you like to see on your dashboard? Get into Intacct and start the creation process. What do I have available? Where can I pull it from? Do I need to create items, whether they be account groups, a financial report, a view, to get the information for the individuals? And then think about your dashboard space. And what I mean by that, is it 2 columns? Is it 3 columns? Because that's the first question that'll be asked. And then how do I lay the information out on the system that will help the individuals be able to do what they need to do within the dashboard to get the information that's necessary for them? Do I collapse some of the reports because it's easier for them to see, and when they want to see the report, they can drill into it? Or do I present the report fully on the dashboard? And then the next step is just to kind of add your components, add them, experiment with your dashboard, see if it's working. Go back to the people that are looking at the dashboard, because most of them you're going to set up that's the first screen that they see when they come into Intacct. Sometimes it's the only screen they see too. So ask the questions. Is this working for you? Does this help you get what you need when you look at this dashboard? And then go back and revisit it again. And remember, over time, come back and ask the same questions with your dashboards. Make sure you treat your dashboard as a living document that doesn't need to be adjusted. Do we need to make changes to it? What now, as we grow as a company, what is it we may need to move forward? Yelena, at this point, do we have any questions?
Yeah, so we actually do. I think it was relating to a previous slide that you were showing, and the question is it possible to add links to external sites?
It is possible to add links from external sites onto your dashboard. So you would have to get the URL and add that onto it.
Would you be able to show that on the screen at all? Just kind of walk step by step on how to do that.
Well, this was more about dashboard strategies, but let's see where we get, and if not, I will get back to the individual and help them with that.
Okay.
Okay. So if we can put that, I would be happy to get with them. All right. So that's a little bit about build dashboards and what you need to do when you're going through the creative process of creating a new dashboard. Some of the things I wanted to point out as well. So when you are creating a dashboard, there are resources out there. Everyone should have access to the Learning Center, and there is a quick video out there for creating a dashboard. So if you wanted to take a look at that, you could take a look at that. The other thing to remember is whenever you're within Intacct, you can always go to Help Me and get the information there to get some help on that. So that's one of the screens I want to bring over. Sorry, wrong thing. I am clicking away. So everyone should be used to this screen, the Help Center. If not, you can access it right from wherever you are within Intacct and the little question mark and put in the Help Center. And then if you click in here and put dashboards, it's going to help bring you right to a list of different ways to look at dashboards. And then they have the dashboard quick start. And down here they'll have different topics you can walk through. So if you need help with creating a new dashboard, you can click right on this topic and it'll take you right into the steps on creating a new dashboard. It'll help you go through the different scenarios, and you can go back and read through it, edit a dashboard, view a dashboard. So there's a lot of help here as well within Intacct. And the other place to get some help, and I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but under the Intacct community, again, if you go to the help in Intacct and you come to the community, you can see here on this very first page that there are a list here of dashboards and guides. And if you click in here, it has a list of kind of examples of different dashboards you may want to think of designing. It's not going to tell you all the steps to get it, but it's going to show you, just for example, what a controller dashboard you may want to look at. So it's going to give you a slide of what to put, maybe start with a controller dashboard. So you can download that on your PowerPoint and take a look at it and see if that meets some of the needs. Also in the community, you can ask questions to get help with that, or you can reach out to Massey Consulting, and we'd be happy to help you with designing if you have questions on different ways if you're stumped with something within creating a dashboard, or how do I get this report there, we'd be happy to work with you and help you get those designs. So those are some of the community help resources that are available. Just wanted to make sure that everybody realized those were out there. And then I guess the next thing is there any additional questions?
I'll give it a few seconds here to give anybody time to answer any questions. But I did also want to mention that these CloudBytes are for our customers and for you guys. So if anybody has any suggestions or has a specific topic idea in mind, please feel free to reach out to us, because this is for you, and we want to provide the information for you. So please let us know if there's anything in particular that you'd like to get more clarification on, and we'd be happy to feature that as one of our CloudBytes in the future. So don't hesitate to ask. But yeah, I'm not seeing any additional questions, Barbara, so I think that's it. And I guess stay tuned for the April one. We're still discussing a certain topic, and so that information will be out in the next newsletter or the next email sent out to our customers. So thanks, Barbara. I hope everyone has a great day and enjoy the rest of your week.
Yelena.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.